What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Football Over Analysis. Today we're taking a look at which players' stocks have been rising since the start of training camp and whether or not we're going to buy or sell the increase in their value. First guy we're going to go over today is Malik Nabers of the New York Giants. And for Malik Nabers, it's been all positive reports since training camp opened. And leading up to training camp, it was all doom and gloom when it came to Nabers. There were reports that he's probably not going to be ready to start the season. It looks like he was going to head for the pup. Week 5, Week 6 seemed like a best case scenario. But ever since camp opened up, Malik Nabers has been out there and looking pretty darn good too. And all the signs point to him being available and ready to suit up for Week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys. And all this positive news has caused Nabers' ADP to rise considerably. Currently he's going in the beginning of round 3 in a 12-team redraft league. For me, however, I'm still not buying in on Malik Nabers. His rise in value is going to be a sell for me. And for Malik Nabers, it's going to come down to a couple things for me. For one, I'm not 100% convinced that he's healthy, and even if he is able to suit up for Week 1, that doesn't mean that he's going to be out there for a full snap share right away, or that he's going to be featured. And the other thing with Nabers is that even if he were healthy, even if he had no injury that he was recovering from, or no injury concerns whatsoever, I would still have concerns about the offensive environment that he's going to be in this season. For one, the Giants have been pretty clear that they want to be a run-first team this year, but also, I have big concerns about their offensive coordinator hire, Matt Nagy. And Nagy, to me, was such a disappointing, uninspiring hire that John Harbaugh made in his first year with the Giants. Nagy, 3 years ago, took over a Kansas City Chiefs offense that was literally ranked at the top of the league, number 1 overall, in both yards per game and points per game. And immediately, in Nagy's first season with the team, with Hall of Fame quarterback Patrick Mahomes, those numbers dipped to 15th in both yards per game and points per game, and those numbers only got worse in each of Nagy's 3 seasons. So I really have my doubts that Matt Nagy is going to be the guy that elevates Jackson Dart and really gets the most out of Malik Nabers and the rest of these skill position players. So from a coaching and offensive environment standpoint, I still have serious concerns about Malik Nabers that would be there even if he were healthy. So Nabers, with his increase in value, is still going to be a sell for me. I think the best way to handle Malik Nabers is to let one of your league mates draft him, hope that he starts the season slow, and then try to buy low on him, because the Malik Nabers that you get in September, that's still not quite 100%, could be a lot different from the Malik Nabers that you get in November and December. The next guy whose stock has been rising quite a bit has been Jonathan Brooks, running back of the Carolina Panthers. And Brooks was already a trendy sleeper pick when he was coming in ranked as the RB40 earlier in the summer. And the Brooks hype train just continues to gain a lot of steam. The latest thing going in Jonathan Brooks' favor is that Chuba Hubbard last week was announced that he was going to be week to week with a hamstring injury. And part of the reason that Brooks was an appealing sleeper in the first place is because Chuba was a guy who we saw last season already lose the starting job once to Rico Dowdle. And Hubbard, a guy who's been massively inefficient and just an unexciting starting option for the Panthers, was a guy that could be easily replaced a second time. And Brooks, who was already performing well in training camp, now even has a better opportunity with this hamstring injury keeping Hubbard out of action. So Brooks now suddenly finds his ADP going in round 7, whereas he was previously a 9th round pick. So when it comes to buying or selling on the increase in value for Jonathan Brooks, for right now I'm going to be a buy. And I do think that we'll get to a point, maybe by the end of August, that the hype on Jonathan Brooks pushes the ADP a little too high to a point where I'm going to be out on him. Like if he gets to the point where he's going in the high end, the middle range of round 6, I think that's a little too pricey for Jonathan Brooks. But in the back end of round 7, right now he's going at the 7-12, I still think that's perfectly fine for him. Keep in mind the running backs that are going around him right now. You're talking about guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard, J.K. Dobbins, and then the high-end handcuff guys that I don't understand why their ADPs are as high as they are, the Blake Corums and Kyle Monangai types. I would rather take Jonathan Brooks over all those guys easily right now. So given that you can get Jonathan Brooks as your RB3 or your RB4 at the back end of the 7th round, I'm still perfectly fine paying that price tag for him. Next on the hype train, we have Devon Achane of the Miami Dolphins. And the update with Achane is kind of a minor one, but it's also significant at the same time. You had head coach of the Dolphins, Jeff Hafley, come out and say that he's preparing Achane for a workload that could include north of 40 touches per game. And while it's nice to hear the coach speak in the sense that it's pretty clear that the Dolphins are going to commit to using Achane heavily, at the same time, there's just no way that Devon Achane is going to be getting 40 touches in a game this year. The Dolphins still project to be one of the worst teams in the league. I would be surprised if they were even able to run enough plays to give Achane a volume of 25 to 30 touches a game, much less 40. And Achane is still going to be pretty pricey in drafts. You've still got to pay a high-end second-round pick to get him. And keep in mind, on a bad team, there's always a risk that if he's hurt at all towards the end of the season, that they're just going to shut him down, especially in a year where, again, the Dolphins aren't expected to be any kind of playoff team. So it's going to get to a point where the losses have piled up, and it's clear that it's in their best interest to tank and play for a higher 2027 pick. So Devon Achane, while I love the player and I love the talent, he's just not for me, especially at this price tag. He's still going to be a sell for me. Next guy we'll talk about is Parker Washington of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the thing with Parker Washington is that, from all the reports, it seems like he's clearly separating himself from the rest of the Jaguars wide receivers. He's the guy that's becoming the wide receiver one on this offense. So with Washington, we've got reports that the Jaguars are quote-unquote really reluctant to take him off the field, and we already know that his chemistry with Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. And he also runs a lot of his routes out of the slot, which is great for fantasy. And then you add that in with the other reports where Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter are supposedly splitting the reps at the X receiver. And it just seems like by the day, the buy signals on Parker Washington are just getting stronger and stronger. So now he's moved ahead of Brian Thomas in ADP. He's going in the middle of the 6th round, and I think that's perfectly fine to take a shot on him as the Jaguars wide receiver one. Next guy that's been getting a lot of camp hype has been KC Concepcion of the Cleveland Browns. And really both him and his fellow rookie wide receiver Denzel Boston have gotten a lot of camp hype and a lot of praise from head coach Todd Monken. But specifically in the case of Concepcion, Monken has said that the Browns are going to make every effort to get Concepcion the ball in every way possible, whether that's in the receiving game, on end-arounds, on kick returns. This rookie is just an explosive player, and Monken is going to find ways to get him the football. The problem with the Browns has always been obviously the quarterback situation. It's going to be a mess between Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, and possibly even Dylan Gabriel and Taylon Green will get in there at some point this year as well. And the concerns with the quarterback position have been what kept Concepcion's price down throughout draft season. But just imagine if Todd Monken, who has always been a pretty good offensive coach and a guy that's been able to elevate the talent level of the guys he's worked with in the past, imagine if he's able to get just average quarterback play out of whether it's Shedeur, whether it's Deshaun Watson, if he can just get, say, Jacoby Brissett level in Arizona last year play out of these guys, imagine what that would do for these talented Cleveland pass catchers. Because with Jacoby Brissett last year in Arizona, it showed us that if you've got a quarterback that can just do the most basic of things, just deliver an accurate pass to a talented player, then that's going to do worlds for their fantasy upside. Trey McBride last year finally got unlocked as soon as Jacoby Brissett stepped into the lineup. Michael Wilson finally broke out when Jacoby Brissett stepped into the lineup and just did basic quarterback play. So imagine if in Cleveland this year we were to get the same level of quarterback play, just a guy that can deliver an accurate pass to a talented player. That's not asking for a lot. And if Todd Monken can just get these quarterbacks to just not suck, just not be bottom 3, then at that point, you've got Concepcion, who's coming in as the wide receiver 47 right now. That would give him a real chance to significantly outperform that ADP. So the price for Concepcion has gone up to the point where he's going in the middle of the 10th round now, and I'm perfectly fine with that price point for him. I'm buying the increase in his value. Again, normally in fantasy football, a first-round pick at the wide receiver position is usually a pretty good bet to make, and here you can get one in the 10th round of your redraft league. And again, the price here is largely still suppressed because of the quarterback situation, but there's multiple pathways here that Concepcion can overcome that and still be usable in fantasy. One of which is if Monken is able to elevate the quarterbacks to which they're at least able to deliver decent quarterback play. But also with Concepcion, he's the type of player that is going to get a lot of manufactured touches. They're going to look for ways to scheme him usage. So again, in the 10th round, I think that's a perfectly fine price point to take a discounted flyer on a first-round pick at the receiver position that has a good chance to outperform this ADP. Final guy we're going to go over today is DeJon Stribiling of the 49ers. And Stribiling has just been tearing up training camp for the 49ers. He's gotten the opportunity for more snaps with the first team ever since Ricky Pearsall went down for the season with an injury. But there's also more opportunity there for him because Mike Evans hasn't been able to stay on the practice field either. He's been constantly in and out with a recurring quad issue. And so with Stribiling, his ADP has risen now to the point where he's going in the 10th round as well, actually a couple picks behind Concepcion right now. And while I still think that's a pretty good price point for him, I would caution that I wouldn't be rolling Stribiling out in my lineup as a flex or a wide receiver 3 right away. But I do think as the season goes on, his role is just going to increase, especially given that I just don't think that Mike Evans can make it through a full season at this point in his career. I think given all the issues that he's had with soft tissue stuff over the last couple of years, I think he's a lock to miss at least a decent chunk of time at some point this year. And even Debo also on the wrong side of 30. Same thing with George Kittle as well, and coming off of a major injury. Their key skill position guys are all old, and they can't make it through a full season at this point. So I think it's only a matter of when, not if, that Deshaun Stribiling takes on a larger role. So I'm buying his increase in ADP as well. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. I thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content today, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And I will talk to you next time when we go over the guys whose stocks have been falling and whether or not we are buying the dips on those falls.